Strasbourg, the capital of the Alsace region in France. The beautiful historic city center, the Grand Ile, was the first city center to be classified as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Completely understandable, right? How exactly did countries like France build such beautiful cities? How were these building projects financed? A majority of European countries profited from the transatlantic slave trade, including France. After Europeans abolished slavery, African diaspora remained. The European Network Against Racism and Swedish MEP Malin Björk organized a debate titled Afrophobic Stereotypes versus Traditions, the Case of Zwarte Piet in the Netherlands. Delegations from black-led and anti-racist groups arrived in Strasbourg from France, Belgium, Germany, Sweden, and the Netherlands. What exactly is the objective of discussing Afrophobia at the European Parliament?
Well, the objective was to take the case of the debate on the Zwarte Piet discussion in the Netherlands as one example, one particular manifestation of Afrophobia, the specific form of racism that people of African descent and Black European encounter in Europe.
The debate was also used to give members of the European African diaspora an international platform.
We who organized this seminar, we acknowledge that Afrophobia is present in all of Europe. And we also claim where traditions are racist, or be it homophobic or sexist, we need to challenge them and we need to change them. This is our responsibility in civil society and especially as politicians. Afrophobia is not Dutch, Belgian or north of France problem, it's a European problem. Europe was built on colonialism, on racism, and we must face it.
Knowledge Caesar discussed how they are fighting against institutional racism in the Netherlands.
It may be a rich country, it may believe itself to be tolerant, it may be a place where each and every child has the opportunity to go to school, but it is nowhere near perfect. The people of the Netherlands must unlearn the notion that their country is an innocent country. There is no way around the fact that the Kingdom of the Netherlands is in fact a racist institution. On November 15th of this year, Kick Out Zwarte Piet, a number of sympathizers went to Gouda in the Netherlands in order to hold a peaceful protest against the arrival of hundreds of white people in blackface on the occasion of the yearly St. Nicholas festivities. We stood next to each other, side by side, holding hands peacefully. In no time, however, we were surrounded by the police and unlawfully arrested. I was violently arrested and put in a chokehold, much in the same way as Eric Garner, who succumbed to similar behavior by the police some months earlier. I could only think of him as the police suffocated and subdued me. After I've been arrested, I was stripped off my clothes and left on the cold floor inside the police station for hours without a blanket or something to cover myself. This is the price you pay when you oppose Dutch racism.
The delegation from Sweden feels that Afrophobic expression is a common practice in their country.
A similar Afrophobic expression that we have seen lately in Sweden was the mock slave auction that took place in Sweden at a higher institution of learning at Lund University, when white students blackened their face and had nooses around their necks and hands at a student dinner party where they decided to hold an auction selling these students with black faces representing enslaved Africans.
The French delegation had the following to say about Zwarte Piet.
C'est dans ce contexte-là.
It's in this context that I want to mention Zwarte Piet, which is just the tree hiding the forest, hiding the problem of institutional racism, which is the racism of racism.
This Italian MEP explained how her government deals with race issues.
Le vice-président du Sénat, Calderoli, de la Ligue de Noirs, qui m'avait insulté.
The story that I want to tell is that actually the vice chair of the Italian Senate insulted me and compared me with the monkey. And by insulting me, he actually insulted the whole black community.
Dutch activist Quincy Gario didn't shy away from personally addressing specific politicians.
First of all, I want to thank Julie and Claire from ENAR for organizing a debate that the Dutch members of parliament are too afraid or too ignorant to organize in the Dutch parliament. The presence of the Islamophobic Hans Janssen today is also telling in that regard. Afrophobia and anti-black racism should not be contentious subjects, but they are, because they bring to the fore the lasting legacy of the European colonial endeavors, not the least of which were the slave trade, chattel slavery, and the plantation systems in the colonies. It seems like Afrophobia and anti-black racism are topics that a lot of people are not ready for. Well, too bad for them.
Nou, ik vind het heel erg jammer dat door die discussie dat het plezier van kinderen in het Sinterklaasfeest eigenlijk wordt verpest. Ik vind dat je hier sowieso niet in Europa moet praten over Zwarte Piet. We hebben wel veel belangrijkere dingen, denk ik, in de wereld die gaande zijn. En ook voor Nederland, waar we over moeten praten. En Nederland, ja, Zwarte Piet is voor mij een traditie in Nederland. En ik heb het idee dat heel weinig mensen zich eraan storen. En een kleine groep heel activistisch is. En dat zag je ook bij deze bijeenkomst. Die heel boos zijn en verbitterd. Dat valt me op, want het is een vrolijk feest en ik kijk er vrolijk tegenaan. En als ik op Curaçao kom of in Suriname kom, waar mijn voorouders vandaan komen, dan hoor ik helemaal geen protest en dan vinden ze allemaal een leuk feest. Dus ik denk dat het een kleine minderheid is die hier een probleem mee heeft en dat op een of andere manier probeert uit te venten om daarmee in de publiciteit te komen. En dat vind ik jammer en dat vind ik vooral jammer voor alle kinderen in Nederland die hier normaal gesproken zoveel plezier aan beleven.
But ENAR believes that the European Parliament is the perfect place to have this discussion.
It's absolutely crucial that this type of debate on equality and non-discrimination takes place in the European Parliament. First of all, because this is a European dimension, but also because the values of equality and non-discrimination are EU competences and therefore has a full space to be discussed in the European Parliament. The reactions that we got from other MEPs, including from the Liberal MEPs, are really surprising. One MEP called that the debate was ridiculous and inappropriate, and following his declaration in the media, actually the MEP hosting this debate has received many hate mail, from like racism declaration to insults, and this shows that by calling this debate ridiculous, this is the type of reaction you get also from people. He has no right as another MEP to tell another MEP on what topic they should host a debate on. Every type of issues is being discussed here.
Dutch activist Kunta Rincho was also present at the debate. Last month, Kunta was on the Al Jazeera program The Stream. One of the guests claimed that the debate around Zwarte Piet only took place in Amsterdam and Rotterdam.
People are definitely speaking to each other. I know this for a fact from Amsterdam and Rotterdam, who are, of course, that are let's say the blackest cities in Holland. In large parts of Holland, the whole question doesn't even pose itself. Funnily enough, I don't really agree with that, or that's a different matter. But the people are not discussing things. They say it's something from the Randstad, from the western side.
Ja, net als meerdere dingen die die man in die bewuste uitzending zei, was dat ook iets wat zeer zeker niet klopte. Laten we nog niks verklappen. Maar zoals je ziet staan we hier vandaag bij het Europese parlement in Straatsburg. We zitten hier met mensen uit verschillende landen, zowel activisten als Europese parlementariërs, als andere mensen die graag een verandering willen brengen.
Mitchell Assayas feels disenfranchised by the Dutch government and feels that he has a personal responsibility.
And I feel it is my responsibility to speak up for the fundamental rights of people of African descent and minorities. Just like it is the responsibility of the European Parliament to uphold the values and principles upon which this EU was built. That's why I call upon the government of the Netherlands and the European Union to condemn these issues where people of African descent and minorities, human rights are being infringed.
De reactie van de Nederlandse politiek vind ik uitermate zwakjes, lafjes en een teken van de staat waarin Nederland verkeert. Gewoon pure onwetendheid en soms ook een stukje arrogantie. Als je kijkt naar wat onze eigen premier van alle Nederlanders zou moeten zijn, zegt over het issue Zwarte Piet. Ja, Zwarte Piet is zwart, daar kan ik niks aan doen. En mijn Antilliaanse vriend die vindt het helemaal geen probleem. Dan laat het zien dat die black issues als eerste totaal niet serieus neemt.
This past March, Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte hosted the Nuclear Security Summit. He made the following racially derogatory statements during a press conference.
And then on the issue of Black Pete, you're exactly true there too, because what I said is that Black Pete is black, and I cannot change that, because the name is Black Pete.
On October 22nd, 2013, the Netherlands Institute for Human Rights stated that the Dutch St. Nicholas blackface caricature Black Pete is a racist part of the holiday because it confirms negative black stereotypes. And
I think we're in a nuclear security.
I simply do not agree. This is a old children's tradition. I can only say that my friends in the Dutch Antilles, they are very happy when they have Sinterklaas because they don't have to paint their faces. And when I'm playing for Black Pete, I'm for days trying to get off the stuff on my face.
Prime Minister Rutte apologized to the Prime Minister of Curaçao after making these racially derogatory statements.
Well, as a Swedish Left Party, for us, the struggle against racism, against sexism, against homophobia, it's an integral part of our political program, of our political struggle in Sweden. So for me, it's obvious that the left has to host such events.
Within a democracy, the majority doesn't overrule the minority. This is Kevin Roberson from Strasbourg, France, for voorbeeldallochtoon.nl.